Hey guys, welcome to my new tutorial. I hope you guys find that this is very useful for you. These are just going to be a few of my techniques that I use to color line arts and everything. Hopefully it'll be easy to follow. This is going to be a pretty much sped up video, so hopefully I'll get to cover everything. Now, what you're seeing in front of you right now is going to be the line art that I'm using, which is by an artist on DeviantArt. I will provide her link below because I just cannot pronounce her name. The reference stock that I'm using is going to be from VenomX Baby. She is a fantastic photographer. She is also on DeviantArt. I'll also provide my information down below where you can find the beginning tutorial of this, of how to color in a line art and everything like that. Now, if you look over to the side, you'll see my layers. I have named them all. I don't usually do that, but make sure to go ahead and lock the base. You'll see the little doodad at the bottom. It's going to be a checkered square. If you'll go ahead and click that, that's going to lock the base for you so you won't color outside the lines. That's really what we're wanting to avoid. Now, go ahead and do the same to the first layer as well. That's going to prevent you from coloring outside that line, and that's going to come in handy later on. Now, the other thing is I'm going to show you how to use the tools and what tools I use, what settings to put them on, and things like that. Hopefully you can follow this easily. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them down below. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Alright, so let's get started on this. Here I'm just going to show you what the different brush settings are. So I have my settings on shape dynamics, and these are all the settings set to pin pressure, as well as transfer, which is set to pin pressure as well. These are typically for your tablet users out there who have Wacom tablets or any other type of tablets. Lucky bastards who have Cintiq, which is my dream tablet to have. So should you have transfer and shape dynamics on, this is really what's going to come of having those settings. Transfer is like using multiple strokes to get that effect that you're wanting, and then shape dynamics keep it where if you want to color in like tight spots, like here on the neck where the little V is, or upside down V is, that's going to be easier to color with transfer and shape dynamics. So right here I'm just going to color in the tongue and the teeth as well as the eye, just to get that started and out of the way, because I usually forget that in the end. Now you could, of course, can do anything you like. I took off transfer here mainly because this way, you know, it's going to be easier to color in, and I didn't like that color, so I went ahead and filled that in with a lighter color. Now we're going to do the teeth, and the teeth are going to kind of be off-white, simply because horses don't necessarily have dentists who can keep their teeth clean and such. So I did decide here to, instead of just doing the eye, I went ahead and did the corner of the eye, and then I created a layer on top of that, did the whole clipping mask. So I went ahead and locked the layers for the eye and the features and named them so I can keep a tab on those. And like I said before, I don't usually do that. I know where my layers are usually, and it's not hard to find them unless I'm having hundreds of layers on top of one another, and I have done that. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on the base color, and what I'm going to do is select from the darkest point on the horse. I usually take some time to figure that out, and I did find the color I really liked and was trying to find that one. It's a nice chocolate brown color. A little bit about this horse while I go through and do this, and that's just showing you that, you know, even if you happen to move your clipping mask, you're able to take that clipping mask and put it underneath another, and it's going to clip back to the base, and you won't have to worry about coloring outside lines. An easy fix right there. I am going to show you different shades. I am going to pick from the base. I don't usually do this. I did when I first started out, but it's nice to kind of practice. So now I'm going to pick up lighter colors and color in the different areas. So the horse is divided up in multiple sections, and as you can see, like the barrel, which is the stomach, the back hips, and the front shoulders, and the neck, and etc., etc. So adding these highlights and these lowlights, as well as doing a darker color on top of that, is going to really show off the definition and the muscles and such, and it'll save you time in the long run to do shading and such like that. Now, I'm just getting ready to get a smudge or blend these colors, and I want to show you what I've used on my smudge brush. So my smudge brush settings are much like the ones that is from my paintbrush. They are set to pen pressure, and strength is set to 12%. So this way you're not pushing the colors, you're blending the colors. I also have scatter set on as well, and it's about to show you the settings for that. Those settings are going to be uh, probably at 68%, I believe it is. Really small font, so I can't really tell you. And also, there's no spacing. The hardness is set down, so again, if it was a harder brush, then you're going to be pushing the colors, not blending the colors. So now we're going to go ahead and follow the shape of the horse. We want to blend these colors at like it looks in the picture, where if you blend it straight across, it's not going to look right. The horse's hair does not go that way. There is the flow of the fur and the pelt and everything is completely different than if you were to now we're just going over with a darker color because I didn't like how light it looked. Just going to go through and define the different sections of the horse that we discussed, and now we're going to add a lighter color because I didn't really like the purple that we grabbed from the picture. This is supposed to be a brown or a black horse. We don't really want the purple to be the main focus. And since I added the light color, the light brown, it really helped the horse out a little bit. Made it look a little bit more realistic. We're going to go through and add some gray just to define the where the fur is thinnest or the hair is thinnest on the horse. This is going to be around the muzzle, around the well, to be frank, around the goober, and around the eyes as well. Even the ears are going to be a little bit. This color is going to be completely dependent on what you prefer. There's no right or wrong here. I prefer a little bit darker. Sometimes, depending on the coat color, I'll follow like chestnuts. They're going to have lighter gray around the muzzle and such. But my cat's moving around, so I apologize for the extra noise. And he's coming to say hi. So I'm just blending this in now and getting rid of some of the edges and such. And there you have our beautiful silver black, well, almost silver black horse. Now, we're going to work on some white markings. White is never truly white. So that's another thing is you don't want real white and you don't want true black. You want in-between colors. This way it's not so fake. Horses are not totally white. They have pink fur beneath or pink skin beneath the fur, and this prevents it from being a true white horse. If it were white, I'm sure it would burn a lot easier. Now, choosing this color, you see how it's not exactly white. It looks really good. It's going to look great against the base coat. Now, another thing we're going to do is we're going to take a mask tool after we paint in the pink markings or pink areas, like for the muzzle, the chest, where the hip joins the barrel, the eye, the ears, things like that. And this is a really dark pink. I didn't really like it, so I went back and added some light pink to it and smudged it or blended it a little bit more so it wasn't so harsh. And we can't forget the goober. Got to pay attention to that. Now, we're going to add a mask layer, and you're about to see how I do that. And it's at the bottom right hand corner where the square or the rectangle with a circle in it. You're going to want to press that. This is a great tool for when you're using like solid colors or you don't want to have to go back and repaint the white or things like that. So we're doing this white layer. We're going to put a clipping mask on it. Take the paint bucket with the black, and we're going to use that paint bucket on the mask layer. So how we do that is make sure that mask layer is selected, and again, we're about to show you. You're going to make sure that mask layer is selected, and then paint bucket the horse. It's going to make the white disappear, but you're going to take the brush with a white color instead, and you're going to draw the markings, and this you're about to see how we're going to do that. Right now we're also coloring the hooves. We can't forget that. Hooves are they're very simple. Either if the white marking is touching the hoof, then usually the hoof isn't going to be slate or gray or brown or black. It's going to be a light tan, peachish color that'll match the base coat or the white coat. So there we have the white. Now we're going to go ahead and do the mask layer. So watch carefully. So I just chose the mask. I'm taking the bucket now, and with a black color, and bam, it disappeared. That's it. Now we're going to take a white brush, and we're going to color, and look at that. You didn't erase it, you didn't cover it, you just put it on a mask layer, so you get to play around with that. You don't have to worry about messing up or getting outside lines or having to start over or anything like that. Just make sure that the mask layer is selected. If it's not, you will be coloring on the white and you might have to repaint the white. Now with markings are never perfect. So they're usually jagged edge, they have a faded edge, which I will show you in this video as well. And I love white markings. We're also going to turn on shape dynamics, not transfer this time around, that'll come later. But here I'm just demonstrating that splash usually has markings above the knees and a bald face and everything. And I started drawing like a very maximum splash markings and such, and I didn't really like it, so I went back and changed it, which you're about to see. But this is like what I mean, is that the markings are not perfect. As you can tell, it's very jagged edged, and it looks really natural. Also, the white against the dark base coat looks fantastic, and it's not true white. So again, don't use true white, don't use true black either, because you'll lose the lines, and it's just not going to seem natural at all. So here I'm just cleaning up the splash markings and such. I'm giving them socks and stockings, and now I'm giving them a lantern. A lantern is pretty much something that I just recently learned about, and it separates the white on the face. It's kind of like a reverse badger face or badger marking. I also decided we're not going to keep this natural. We're going to give it a grin, and the grin turned out fantastic. I also cut down some of the white because it was just too much. I really wanted the base coat to come out because I was super proud of that. And I'm just cleaning up the lines now, and we're about to go in and redo the lines a little bit, not the lines, but the edges of the paint markings, and fade them out so it looks like they're a little bit more natural than what they are right now. The sharpness against with the edges and such, it doesn't appeal to me personally as an artist, but a lot of artists do that, and they manage to pull that out really nicely. So as you can see, I turned transfer on, and I'm just going through and I'm tracing the edges of the white markings with very, very light pressure. Where we don't want to draw or anything, we just want to go through and lightly trace the edges, so that way it looks like it's kind of blended into the base coat. Now I'm also giving it eyeliner because it just needed eyeliner. I don't know why. I think horses with this type of thing is very, very pretty. I'm also going through and slimming down or cutting down the black that's around the cheek and the cheekbone and such, or in the jaw. I'm not using correct terminology, I know. But here you have the white markings. They look great, if you ask me, and I'm just really testing and playing around with what other kind of markings we would use, or what would look better, and going back with the black and playing around with the edges and such, turns out I did not like it whatsoever. So I went ahead and went back and took that away. And now the tool that I use for that is going to be Command or Control Z. Now that takes away one step, and you can do it again and it'll bring the step back. But if you hold down Control or Command, Alt or Option Z, and you go back as many steps as you need, then it'll take away all of that you had just done, and then you can do Command Z and it'll bring it all back, so you can compare between the two, like, do I want it, do I not want it, just Command Z multiple times after you get all of the markings removed, like this. So Command Z again, Command Z, back and forth, just to figure out whether I like it or not. And I decided it wasn't very. Now we're going through and we're doing the mane and tail. So this is supposed to be a silver dapple, and we went with the color that I grabbed from the stock image that I used from Venom-X Baby, and just went through and colored the mane and tail. It's tedious sometimes, depending on the line art that you use. This artist that did this line art, she's fantastic. She or he, they are fantastic. They don't really add a whole lot of detail that's left to the person that's going to be using it, which I'm very grateful for. And here, when I did the mane and tail, there's no line that's separating the mane from the neck. So I went ahead and jumped in and and here is like, I did too much here, but I went in and made it look like the hairs were coming from the neck instead of it just being a straight line. It really helped with the texture. A little trick that I want to share with you guys while I got you on here is if you are having issues with going back and forth and changing the size of your brush and everything, you want to use the bracket keys. Those are going to resize the brush for you. That's just a shortcut for you, just in case. And here I'm just I'm going through and I'm following the flow of what the mane would be, so it doesn't look like it's just straight across the forelock here. That would be very unnatural, and I like to keep things natural. Anyway, so use the brackets to resize your brush. Also, the rotating tool that I've been using is very, very handy, especially if you're like me and you can only draw certain ways. Like, I can only draw horses that are facing right. I can't draw horses that are facing left. So I can flip around and such to get the full extent of my drawing abilities. So now I'm just cleaning it up. I'm going to lock this thread, this layer, because we're going to go back and add some darker points, because like in the stock image, there's dark points that are coming from the crest that blend into the rest of the mane and tail, which is why there is that gradient of color, and it's very beautiful. So using a bigger brush, I'm just going to make sure transfer is turned on and kind of follow the flow of the tail. Granted, there's no detail, so use your imagination. That's going to be a video I do later on mane and tail flow and such like that. Here we're going to follow the flow, and I didn't really like doing this color because it didn't match the base color as well as I'd like. So I went back and picked the color from the base and went ahead, kind of went over everything, redid it, and it turned out really well after that. So this is where I told you that I was taking darker colors and starting to really blend the mane and tail in. I even went back and did the tail, and it turned out really nice. This is where I'm taking a lighter, I'm taking the base color of the mane and going through and making it look like strands. So this way, you know, it's not. I'm also taking a lighter color and adding it to the edges for another gradient, but also we wanted to break up that blocky strands that made it look like that. This way it's very clean, it's got a natural texture to it, it's nice in general. So now I'm going to add dapples because I was told that this needed to be a silver dapple, specifically dapple. I'm not a big fan of dapples, so I went ahead and uploaded some or imported some brushes. You can find the link to the brush that I used in the description, hopefully. If it's not there, please remind me and I will get that done for you. I'm not a big fan of dapples. I can't really get them to work right sometimes. In this one, I was lucky that I was not going to embarrass myself by having dapples that were completely just did not look like they fit. In this case, I played around with the settings a little bit. I changed the sizes and such, and got to the point where I was about to change the color. I locked the layer, and figured, you know, we're just going to lower the opacity. It's amazing how something can change just by lowering the opacity, and it turned out really, really nice. Well, I'm just finishing up this tutorial, and I just wanted to say a few things. I really appreciate the artists who have the stock readily available for the line art and for the stock horse as well, which is a Rocky Mountain horse and by Venom-X Baby. The line art, again, is by horraw-x, I guess, horror-x, something like that. They're on DeviantArt as well. And again, thank you so much for letting me use this. I really do appreciate it. I will provide links in the description so you guys will have access to that. The lines are for purchase. They're for DeviantArt points, which equals out to like $3.50 total. Feel free to go support the artist. Make sure you credit them properly, as well as any reference that you may use. I really do appreciate it if you would do that. I hope to see you guys soon. I hope you watch my other videos, and if you have any questions, leave comments. I'd be more than happy to help them. Thank you so much for watching my video. This is endevi. Have a good day.